So much of what we think we know is being challenged in 2020, and particularly in this news cycle with our two big topics of the week, the Supreme Court and COVID-19. I'm going to focus there, give you a good foundation to start off your week. I felt like I had to get close to you today. I had to step away from the desk so we could really talk. So let's start with the Supreme Court. We heard from the president on Monday morning that he has the intent to nominate someone for the Supreme Court by the end of this week, and that would fill the seat vacated by the passing of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Now, getting from nomination to confirmation is a pathway that has a lot of uncertainty. Whether or not they can happen before the election, a confirmation can actually happen before the election is a big what if. In the Wall Street Journal, they actually quoted a report that looked at the time period it takes between the president nominating someone from the Supreme Court and to confirmation. And the median for that, if you remember your high school statistics, the median was 69 days. So we are less than 50 days away from the election. So whether or not it can happen that quickly is a big what if. How often have we been in this scenario in history? The scenario where you have a president nominating someone for the Supreme Court during an election year. Again, looking at one report going back just to 1900. Going back to 1900, we've been in this scenario about 9 times. And traditionally, whoever the president nominates has been confirmed for the Supreme Court. One notable exception happened in 2016. I'm sure you're hearing a lot about this, where President Obama put forward a nominee in an election year in the spring, and Republicans blocked that nominee, saying it was too close to the election. A lot of those same Republicans are still in power right now, and they're the same ones saying, oh, we'll take President Trump's nominee, and we'll go ahead and move that towards confirmation. So it's a notable change. It is the Senate's prerogative about how to proceed for a confirmation process. They do have that power. What the senators did in 2016 really broke with tradition. And that's why it was very notable, because traditionally the Senate has followed the cue from the president, whoever the president is, to move the confirmation, at least the process along. That difference has been shown, and it wasn't shown in 2016. Now, going back to how quickly the Senate could actually process someone through. Right now, the Senate only needs a simple majority to confirm whoever the president nominates. And that's because of a rule change that happened in 2013 by Democrats. The Republicans are emboldened now because of a rule change by Democrats. Democrats at the time said they were making that rule change because they were frustrated with Republicans. Either way, the rule change for judicial nominees moved the number of senators needing to approve a nominee from 60 to simply 51. And so whoever holds the majority in the Senate, whether that's Republicans or Democrats, they're able to push a judicial nominee through. And that's how we're in the scenario where this could potentially happen. Now, how this challenges what we know about the Supreme Court, this is really key. Right now, we're thinking, well, we got to fill that 9th seat, right? It's vacated. The Supreme Court can actually function without 9. In fact, it's a simple act of Congress that can determine how many seats we have on the Supreme Court. You know, we could be in a scenario someday in our lifetime where lawmakers decide they want to add or subtract seats to the Supreme Court, and they can actually do that. It's why your vote matters, because it's an act of Congress that can do that, not necessarily the president. We've had 9 justices since just after the Civil War. That's why we're used to having 9. But there's nothing in the Constitution to prevent that from being changed. So we have to focus on the story right in front of us, and also look out at what potentially could happen depending on the political environment that we're in. Interesting twist, isn't it? Let's talk a little bit about COVID. Big news. Going into the weekend, the CDC posted a change on their website, about the virus that causes COVID-19. We've talked a lot about COVID-19 being spread through respiratory droplets. This is why we're social distancing, why we're wearing masks. Respiratory droplets that can spread by loud talking or singing or coughing or sneezing. But there's always been a question about whether or not this virus is actually airborne, like the measles, for example. And that would be, the droplets do pass through the air, but talking about a virus as airborne means something different. In some scenarios, it can mean that whoever was infected or contagious with the virus could actually infect other people, even if they just walked by, even simply by breathing. And so this would be a huge change that the CDC put this out into public policy. Well, by Monday midday, the CDC retracted this, saying that a draft went out too soon. So whether or not this is true about the virus that causes COVID-19 is a big question. And there's been a growing body of research that is suggesting that this potentially is the case. How that affects our everyday life and how we understand COVID and keeping each other safe, that's a whole other conversation we can launch into. Right now, the CDC maintains it's still respiratory droplets, but they're looking into this other area. We need to watch for news developments on this side to see if it actually becomes official. One thing you should know going into this week is that we are seeing rising rates of infection nationwide. Over the last several weeks, we're seeing a movement in that direction, not anything severe, but enough of a trend that doctors are watching it. Is it due to the Labor Day holiday? Is it due to kids going back to school? What is it really about? No one really knows, but it's something to watch. This is where you're going to be hearing a lot about this threshold passing over 200,000 Americans who have died from COVID-19. Here we are marking just 9 months since we found the first case of COVID-19 in America. We'll be talking a little bit more about that this week, but we'll watch news from the CDC. Again, what we previously thought to be true still is maintained to be true, which is that we still believe respiratory droplets spread the virus. But could it also be true that we need to be thinking about the transmission of COVID in a way that is more broad in definition? It's a big question as we go into the week. All right, guys, have a great day. More on all this information on smartnews.com. And thank you, as always, for your support. I'll talk to you soon.